How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Staying Connected, where we explore the depths of self, the people around us, and our environment. We hope to uncover any life lessons through our experiences, reflect on meaningful relationships built along the way, and to ultimately learn about one another through open and honest conversations. I'm Kenny.
I am Scott. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Let's do
So
it.
today we'll be talking about dealing with conflict. We decided to talk a little bit about conflict with friends, and I think Kenny's going to go through with some roommates. So yeah, let's go ahead, Kenny.
All right.
Conflicts. What do you got?
So my friends and I, we actually grew up together. I'm from Lanai. We're all from Lanai, and we knew each other since elementary school. And from there, we just graduated together, moved to Oahu, pretty much the same time. And yeah, we all went to different colleges, and yeah, eventually we graduated and just started working full-time jobs. And yeah, I would say back in 2017, yeah, we decided to move in together. And because before that, we all just lived separately. But then, yeah, just out of the blue, each of us we're trying to find a place to move into. And, we all came together one night for dinner, and everybody was like, oh, I'm looking for a place too. So yeah, there was myself, two other guys. We just met up for dinner, and then we all just decided, hey, let's try find a place together. And yeah, from there, we just did our research and yeah, tried to look for a place. But the relationship, just a little bit of background behind the relationship between us. I mean, we knew each other for most of our lives, you could say. And yeah, like throughout middle school, high school, yeah, we all hung out in the same clique. We all joke around with each other. We all know each other's family. We go to each other's houses, and yeah, so it's not just friends, but it's more like our families got to get close to each other. And yeah, from
Best
there,
friends
just
almost.
best friends. Yeah, so we have this group because back in Lanai, it's a very small town, and I graduated with 50 students. So
Oh
there
wow.
were there weren't many like cliques because everybody was just all together. But yeah, I considered those two guys as like one of my closest friends because yeah, we pretty much did a lot of things together. And just yeah, we all have different personalities, different interests, but at the end of the day, we just bonded pretty well together. But then yeah, there are some challenges along the way that we had to deal with. um, One specific example, as I'm going back to it, is living together. So as long as we knew each other, um, we decided to live together. And because we thought it would be like a great ideal, and we would be
Yeah.
living together like
Just the
we live.
bros hanging
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So for 2 years we lived together. And I guess when we first moved in, everything was just like pretty cool, just being able to um, live together, and each other already. You don't have to
Right.
interview any new roommates. Um, so yeah, we were like pretty comfortable, just like doing whatever we want. And yeah, we had like our own rooms, our own privacy, pretty much. And little did we know, is just we all have different personalities, but at the same time, we all have different living personalities.
Right.
That's what I kind of learned along the way, that yeah, some people aren't as clean as like how I picture myself to be. Like I'm a pretty clean and organized
What
person.
what's considered too dirty for you?
Too dirty for me is leaving a fork in the sink.
That's dangerous.
So like stuff like that. Yeah. So because I didn't know how everybody else lived on their own until we actually lived together, and from there, yeah, I just started to kind of like observe a little bit more about everybody's habits around the house. And yeah, for me, I'm an observant person, so I just like pick up different patterns. And
You guys didn't set up like ground rules or anything?
so when we first moved in, that was always that was like priority to set ground rules. Um, so the ground rules basically were clean up after yourself. We're gonna clean up every week. We're gonna make sure to take out the trash whenever it's full, of course. And yeah, we all kind of shop together, and yeah, we all pitch in for just different household items, and of course, most importantly, paying your rent on time. Let's just name the first roommate, um, roommate A and roommate B.
Oh,
So
give them real names. Give them real names, Kenny. David and Andrew.
So let's stick with roommate A and roommate B. So yeah, let's see. So roommate A, his habits around the house was just, yeah, he would clean up after himself, um, and then also buy like different household items and all that. But paying rent on time was a conflict that we had to kind of deal with.
How come he had that problem?
Just like jumping from different job to job and all that, and not having enough sometimes. So we all kind of like, the way we compromised was just like whenever somebody was having any sort of financial difficulty, we would all try to pitch in for each other and make sure each one pays whoever X amount. So that was one way how we dealt with conflict. So yeah, because yeah, at that time we were just like fresh out of almost like kind of like figuring out ourselves, figuring out our careers and all that, and yeah, even having multiple jobs like that to have a roof over our head. So yeah, roommate A, I mean, clean, organized, but just like having difficulty with paying rent on time. So, and then roommate B was kind of like the opposite. Uh, Basically dirty, and would never like clean up after themselves until you just kept on reminding that person. Um, at first, like the first weeks, it was fine. Everybody did their own thing, but when we got too comfortable, it was just what house rules are there, like that. So it just slowly faded away, and eventually talking it out was the solution. Making sure that rent was paid on time, and yeah, making sure that like we always stocked up with a lot of items, like try to clean up as much as possible. Sometimes I'm like overboard. I go overboard with cleaning, to the point where I'm like scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing till sun up or to sundown, pretty much. But yeah, that's just my
Your
personality.
landlord's dream.
Yeah, it is. Um, so I would say like, I mean, for me being extra clean and for my other roommates being not as extreme as I am, I had to kind of like find some sort of balance. Whereas like I, yeah, everybody was just doing their part equally, and yeah, so conflict was definitely something we didn't experience till we actually lived together. For me to experience living with my friends, it was a great experience. It was super fun. I learned a lot, about myself and just my friends, and yeah, we were able to build our relationship from there, and yeah, deal with conflicts that we never really experienced growing up. I mean, for as long as we knew each other.
But did it ever come to like a melting point where you're like, oh my goodness, I regret my decision living with these people? Like, you didn't want to live with them anymore. Did it ever reach that point, or?
Actually, no. Yeah, as like, I mean, I was a little bit stressed sometimes, especially like when I had to like work overtime and all that, and I would just like come home and there's like the house is like super dirty, so it affects just how I feel around the house. But yeah, I think talking it out with each roommate was definitely helpful because we just had to, yeah, I mean, get shit done around the house, and that was it. Just make sure um, everybody was okay, and so yeah, I mean, there's no regrets. I learned a lot, and they really helped me a lot as well, and we're still friends today. Yeah.
Yay. But I do have two questions for you.
Yeah.
First question was, can you give us more detail about how that conversation went? And then like the second question, the follow up would be, did they continue that behavior to like not pay rent, to keep being dirty? So can you give us more details on that?
Oh yeah. So, I mean, on top of the house rules that we had, especially with like rent and all that, we eventually made a decision that, like, for example, when paying rent, say if you're gonna be late, it's gonna be like $5 each day you're late. So you kind of just you're making sure that they pay rent on time, because you don't want to pay extra fees after that. So that was one way we solved that issue. Whereas like cleaning, all of that, and shopping, eventually we just all went shopping together at the same time. And then whenever we couldn't shop together, we would just collect the receipts, and then everybody would just pitch in however amount split between all of us.
Yeah, definitely living with people. I don't want to do anymore. I live with my parents, but like I understand it's a lot cheaper than living with roommates and such. And since you're under their roof, there's still a lot of limitations. Even though I pay rent, I still feel like I don't have total control. So yeah, I was just talking about living with my parents, and I can't wait to live with my girlfriend and see how that goes.
Okay.
And like you said, having the ground rules is just so important, and I'm not sure how I would be very because I'm just like you. I'm very, I wouldn't say OCD, but I just want the place to be real clean, because when I go home from a long day of work, I just want to relax in my home.
You don't want to, yeah. Not
a pig's den, and for me, like I take ground rules very seriously because I will follow them.
Yeah.
And if someone like, so do you have any tips for like having that conversation instead of just getting mad? Hey, what the heck? Am I living with pigs here? I'm living with Wilbur. What's going on there? So do you have any like tips for just having that conversation and then following through with it? Let's say they keep breaking the ground rules. Okay, what happens?
Yeah. So, it's important to just, whenever like you're having dinner kind of thing, just talk about stuff. Yeah. So like during our dinners, pretty much we would just kind of like just debrief of our let's say month living together, and just figure out how things can get better and improve. You can't really, I'm a pretty calm person, so I'm not the type to be like, what the hell is this in the sink? Clean up the dishes. I'm more of like I'm more of the type where I just want to like sit down and just kind of just calmly just to say like, hey, there's a lot of dishes in the sink, and you know, I came home for the past couple of days and it's still there. Um, do you mind just washing it because it's just gonna grow more bacteria and all that? And yeah, what was great about each roommate was everybody was understanding. Um, yeah, so not many times where they would like fire up kind of thing, because we're all calm. And yeah, just advice on dealing with these conflicts. You just have to talk it out as much as you can. I mean, it can start off with like a text or something, like say if they're not home, just like, hey, can we talk for a bit, or yeah, just whenever you have time. And because yeah, we all had different work schedules too. So I would come home and then my roommate would leave the house. So I would probably see him maybe like a good hour. That's it. So yeah, um, texting and yeah, just so you can kind of keep track of like
Right.
what they said, and yeah, you kind of hold them to that. So like if you just text them, um, yeah, can you make sure you wash your dishes, and they say yes, and you just go back to that and you have proof.
Just
Um,
having that open, honest dialogue between one another instead of resisting the temptation to just blow up on them.
yeah.
If you just point out their faults and
Mhm.
blame everything on them, they're not gonna change that behavior. Instead
Yeah.
of just having that, like you said, honest conversation. Hey, or maybe they had a long, stressful day at work. Like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Can we talk? Like, let me help you out because I know
Mhm.
these are you haven't washed the dishes or you haven't paid rent on time. Like, we're roommates. Talk to me.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
a very
like
good
that.
thing.
Um, I mean, I like to think of it as we were a team, not just housemates, but we're a team. Just making sure that everybody was okay with the living situation and finances and um, mental health, and yeah, just being there for each other, because we all live separately and we all actually lived alone before living together. So living alone versus living with other people, a big difference. You don't have
Right.
much people to talk to, and yeah, it was nice to finally have people to just come home to. And
I need your skill of empathy. Of just
yeah.
understanding like okay, let's take
Yeah.
a breath here and then not destroy here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like, because I mean, you guys been on vacation together though, right? Like,
yeah, but then like vacation is so fun.
yeah.
Like all you do is like you mentioned like the first month or so, it was super fun. Just basically hanging out with your friends and just
Mhm.
chilling. But then
Yeah.
after a while, the habits kick in, and that's when you see you're able to tolerate their habits. I'm glad you had a happy ending because pers- my personal conflict did not have a happy ending, but
Oh,
I
okay.
did get a big learning lesson from that. So it started, I think, my first couple years of college. Um, I still volunteered back to my high school for their soccer team, right? And there was this one sophomore, junior guy that I became really, really close to, and we would play soccer every day, and we would talk about everything. And then over the last next couple years, we got super close. I would consider him my best friend, And at the time, I was dating this girl that he also knew, so he knew her before I did, and he kind of like put everything together, sort of, kind of. I did most of the groundwork or whatever. So everything was all cool, and um, me and this other girl, we had some troubles. My friend, he came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, you need to do a better job as a boyfriend. You need to start doing this, you know."
Mhm.
And then, and for some reason, I don't know if I was just going through it or I was just super emotional. Like I didn't want to hear any advice at the time. I just kind of like blew up on him, like the complete opposite. Granted, he should have put it better, should have been more tactful, but at the time I was just too immature and too emotional to receive any useful feedback. So I blew up on him. I was like, you know what, you should mind your own damn business. You know, like this, let us work it out. You know, I appreciate the concern, but you know, chill and just mind your own business. You know, I thought as best friend, looking back now, like I wish as best friends we could have just talked it out first. You know, like
Yeah.
in an ideal world, he would ask me, hey, you know, what's going on? Because, you know, I see her and you're having some problems. You know, I'm here for you. Talk to me.
Mhm.
Instead of like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. Kind of like playing the blame game. And then, yeah, we just didn't talk for the longest time. And then uh, couple months later, you know, we kind of like became enemies. We didn't talk to each other. We had this antagonistic relationship. And then just at the end of it all, long story short, you know, like me and the girl broke up, and I come to find out that it's because of my, you know, former friend, you know, because he was like telling her stuff. You know, he would hang out with her behind my back, and they were
Ooh.
doing their own thing, whatever they were doing, you know. And then at the longest time, I felt really bitter, and
You should have.
like it
It's a
took me.
slap in the face right there.
It was. I thought you were my friend. I thought you were my best friend. You know, like best friends don't do that to each other. You know, regardless if we had our like bad,
Mm-hmm.
you know, our bad times. Granted, I should have been the mature adult, and you know, I just apologize and you know, talk it out. But I was too prideful for that. You know, I let my pride and my ego get in the way, and I wanted to do it my way. You know, I kind of like shun everybody out. Um, but yeah, like that was real junk. I don't think I forgave them until like 2 years ago. It stuck with me for so long because the whole time I was like, man, how could someone do that to you? You know,
So what
someone
made
that I'm
oh,
sorry.
no, what made
Oh,
you decide to forgive?
um, that is a very good question.
Yeah.
I think 'cause I just had so much hate in me. Like every time I saw their name, no, I did the most millennial thing. I like blocked them from like social media because I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to see their face at all. Um, I just had so much hate in me,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to feel like that every single time, you know, their name was brought up or like I saw their face or whatever. Like I was tired of feeling so much hatred and so much anxiety from just seeing them. So I just decided, you know what, like whatever happened, happened. You know, just let it go and just it's okay. Whatever happened sucked, but you need to move on. It's like you don't need to forget. You don't need to forget, but you need to forgive and move on with your life, or else it's gonna stick with you with your next relationship. It's gonna continue messing up your future relationships with other girls as well. And it took me so long. It took me like 4 or 5 years to like get over it. So I know, right? Like me too. Looking back now, it's like wow. Like you know, nowadays, it's like if I had any resentment at someone, it's like you know what, you're a different person now, and that's okay. You know what you did to me back then was messed up, or what I did to you was messed up. Like I apologize. You know, now we're adults. You know, let's act like adults and talk it out because because it's hard too because some people they're not adults, they get older but they don't grow up.
They
So
don't.
you know you do your best to have that conversation, like even if you're in the wrong, is it
Mhm.
that hard to say, you know what, we were both stupid, my bad, can we start over? And
Yeah.
even if it doesn't become like a positive relationship, that's just so much better for your soul when you're able to just like forgive and just like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. But yeah, now that I see the guy, and I haven't seen the girl in like ever since we broke up. But
Yeah.
I see the guy, and then he's still in our friend circle, and I still like ask him like, hey, what's up? How you doing? You doing okay with COVID? So
Uh,
you remember that? Remember when we started staying connected? We're like, you gotta reach out to someone. That
yeah.
episode with COVID, like weeks ago. So
Oh.
now I took that advice. I think you gave it to me.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? We got to practice what we're preaching. Like, even if it was a former enemy, just check up on them. Like, hey, is
Yeah.
everything doing okay? You good? Like, Just want to make sure you're good, and that's it. It doesn't have to be super long, but if you want to stay connected with someone, it's hard actions that you need to take. But it's the right thing to do, and hopefully I continue to do the right thing to do. So, like I told you,
Oh.
I didn't have a happy ending, but it was a
Mhm.
big valuable lesson that moving forward, but I'm definitely gonna teach this to my kids, and just having that hatred in your heart, just hating
Mhm.
someone, having that negative energy,
Because you're gonna hold
it's
it on. Yeah, hold it for like how long? I mean, you held it on for
five
so
years,
long.
yeah. And you're gonna pass it on to someone else. You're gonna
Yeah.
continue the cycle.
So, so how did the other person respond when you decided to kind of just like forgive and all that?
Um, I think they knew that it was the messed up thing to do, and of course, at the present moment, they were emotional too, and they just want to like get revenge towards me,
Uh-huh.
which I totally get. When you're that young and you're mad at the world, yeah, you're gonna take some actions. But he was surprised. He was like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that it was that easy." The whole time, I was mad at this couple. Like they had that guilt inside them. Like, oh my God, I did a bad thing towards Scott. I wish I could take it back. I don't know how he feels. So it's kind of funny. Sometimes you gotta be that person to just let your ego go and just
Yeah.
make amends, because who knows, they're thinking the same thing, but they don't have the courage to say sorry and reconcile, because
Yeah.
it's a hard thing to do. Like accepting that you're wrong is so much harder.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like for us guys too, we have that tendency to always feel like we're right at
Yes.
a lot of things, even if we may not be. But yeah, it takes a while for us to just say, "Hey, I think I was wrong," and all of that. Just
That,
because yeah, that's how
this
it
might
was.
yeah, this might be another episode. We need to
Yeah,
being
yeah.
wrong.
Being wrong is yeah, it never hurts to be
Normal.
wrong. Yeah.
It's human to be wrong, but you try to fight like, oh God, like what does everyone think of me? When they find out like I'm not perfect, I'm like, and you're not always, you don't always have to be right. I think you learn more when you accept that you're wrong, and then it's the, like I mentioned, like the other person feels the same way. Like I'm wrong, but I don't want to admit it to Kenny, because Kenny
Hmm.
might judge me. But if you just
Yeah.
openly say it, like, hey, I was wrong. That's my fault. Can we
Hmm.
talk about this, and then let's move on and learn from this and grow from this. If we must learn a lesson is, if you're emotional, then you gotta tell the person. Like, let's say, if you were me, Kenny, and I was the friend, right? And I were to come up to you, hey, Kenny, you need to treat your girl better, man. She's feeling miserable because of you. You're not gonna feel good right, at the moment, but what you need to do is similar to the lesson you learned in the beginning with your story, your roommates, is to be completely honest and transparent. And you can just tell me, if I was the friend, it's like, hey Scott, like, thanks for your concern. I'm going through a lot right now, and just be honest. Hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling this way. Since you're close to her, and since both of us, like, can you give me more tips what I can do to reconcile with her? Now, instead of having that antagonistic relationship, like just pointing the fingers and blaming, now you bring them to your side, because hey, I'm hurting, and like I really need your help because you're my friend and you're her friend too. Bring them on your side. You're
Yeah.
kind of like dousing the fire, because if you
Mhm.
fight fire with fire, like if I tell you, hey, Kenny, treat your girl better, and you come back with me like, hey, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Like you're just
Yeah.
making the fire bigger. So I
It's too
think for me,
confusing. Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. It's so hard to do. Like what I'm saying, super hard to do. To just be basically vulnerable and be like, hey man, I'm going through it, and I need your help. Like I can't do it by myself. You know, and I want to be completely honest with you because you're my best friend. And I want to make this relationship better. But
Yeah, and
But
that
yeah,
best friend should have understood that. You know,
yeah. But
you
when
don't
you're
want
20, you don't know.
any.
When you're 20,
Yeah,
you don't know jack. Like
yeah.
you're a
Everybody
baby.
is. It
Everyone's
was
stupid.
a learning experience. Yeah, at such a young age too. Yeah, that's where we're experimenting with a lot of stuff and learning about each other's personalities.
Well, I'm glad that happened because I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And
Mhm.
imagine uh, if I was that wise and empathetic, like I'll still be with that girl, and I wouldn't be with my current girlfriend, who is amazing. So
Oh, there you go. You heard it here. If she's watching, you heard it here.
yeah,
It's
I haven't watched
official.
any episodes yet. Call her out right now. But yeah, it's just like you never stop learning about these things. It's like communication is just the last thing you master. Like it's the first thing. Like communication goes beyond just like speech. It goes like body language, like your motion and gestures and sounds. That's
Mhm.
the first thing you do, right? When you get born, you make noise. You look around and imitate different behaviors for communication,
Yeah,
and
you just pick up. Yeah.
we spend our whole lives trying to master that, and it's so hard. Like even as I'm like my age right now, I'm still trying to learn what's the best way to communicate with people, how to deal with conflict, how to make sure I get the best out of everybody. It's so hard, and the only way to get better at it is to be aware of like what you suck at, and to be aware of what your strengths are, and just ask people for feedback. Like, hey, I want to improve with this. Can you tell me my bad habits, or what I do well that you like as far as communication. So it's just constantly trying to improve because you'll really never master it because emotional just robs you of that clear-headed thinking. But the only way to get better is to keep trying to master it. I watched the first couple episodes of Staying Connected. When I was trying to explain something, I felt like I used too much words. I felt like I was saying a lot of things, but there wasn't a lot of value in them. And every time I would give an example, it would be so drawn out. So I think I gotten a little bit better where my examples are more concrete, they're straight to the point, and they're able to, give whoever's listening much more value because okay, now they get it. Here's the problem. Here's what I did, and here is the lesson. Now go apply it
Yeah.
because as we're talking about this, I'm constantly trying to put everything into motion and action because I don't want to make the same mistake every single time. I want to make new mistakes so I can get better. But the only way to make new mistakes is you got to conquer your current mistakes and master that as best as you can, of course.
Yeah. This is a good reflection of our communication skills. And yeah, we're going to look back on episode 1 and just see how far we've come and improved along the way, which is awesome.
So hopefully episode 30 or more, we get better mics and we can do this in person.
In
My
person,
goodness,
yes, we
been
are
a
hoping
very
for
long
that.
time. But time for the recommendation of the week. Could be a
Yay.
book, a resource, article, movie tip, a quote, something to make us a little bit better.
Well, for me, this week, my recommendation is A Person and Her Habits, I would say. She goes by the name of Marie Kondo.
Wow.
So she is the spark joy lady that has taken social media, taken any sort of media by storm with her cleanliness and organization. And it ties
I see
back
why you would like her.
and it ties back into my personal story living with roommates. So I mean, while I was cleaning my room, it's fall here and it's almost the end of the year, and I just over the weekend I just decided to like clean my room and figure out exactly what I wanted to get rid of. So yeah, one of the main things was clothes. I have like a shit ton of clothes that I just needed to get rid of because I haven't used them in like over a month. And what Marie Kondo taught me was, yeah, just if if it doesn't spark joy in you, just get rid of it. So what I did was, yeah, I did exactly that. Cleaned up my closet. I have like maybe I have like my work aloha shirts and I have like regular shirts. So total of maybe like less than 20 shirts in my closet. Yeah, because I just rewashed them and reused them. But for the shirts that I decided to give away, there were some that I wanted to reuse. So I guess on top of that recommendation of sparking joy in your life, I decided to reuse one of my shirts to possibly spark me some joy. Um, so it's this tie-dye shirt.
Very nice.
um, yeah, it was just a black shirt that didn't really spark joy in me because there's no, yeah, I didn't use it for over a month, and I just decided to just reuse it, and now it just allow me to be creative with my clothes, and save me money from going shopping and all that. But
Looks
I
like you
guess
can get that from like Forever 21 or something.
yeah, so instead of spending like what $25 for a shirt, like
Go to
hey,
Kenny.
make sure you again, instead of spending like $25 for this, you just make it at home for what less than $5. Yeah, just bleach and that's it. Do your own creativity. But ultimately Marie Kondo, she really helped a lot with just being able to help me organize my room and just the house, and ultimately just my whole lifestyle and mindset of being organized in life. Um, and just getting rid of any clutter that you don't need, whether it's clothes, any household item or people. You don't need any negativity in your life. You yeah, just dust it off. That's what you gotta do. It's like you don't want anything to hold you back from just moving forward in your life. Spark joy in your life.
I like it.
Yeah,
I feel like I learned a lot about you this episode, Kenny. I realized you're such a clean.
Yes.
I like
I
that.
am.
If it doesn't bring joy in your life, well, get rid of it. I like that.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah, it could be anything. Not even like an object. It could be just whatever thought you have in your head. Just get rid of it.
So I have something similar for my recommendation of the week. So since the year is coming to an end soonish, I do this annual analysis, and then basically I look at all the events on my calendar. I have two columns. One column is basically joyful and not joyful, and I basically filter through which events brought me the most growth and the most happiness, the most joy. I'll put that in one column. Which one didn't? It drained me of my energy and such. Which events were like what's the word? Like something about how you have to go just to show face.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the events. So basically, whatever I have on my joyful happiness growth column, I try to do more of that next year. So it's very similar to Marie Kondo's concept of sparks joy in your life. So that's my recommendation. So do more of what makes you happy. Do more of what builds relationships. Do more of what brings you the most growth. Because why aren't you doing that? Why are you doing things that make you miserable? Why are you doing things that don't bring you much? You don't want to be there. Why are you there? So
Yeah.
life is short. Do more things that makes you happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that idea of just listing down all the events throughout the year that you attend. It's a good reflection of what makes each event so significant and why continue going to it. Because if it doesn't spark joy, or if you don't feel any sort of benefit from it, then why continue going? So yeah, I had to do that. Right?
Hey, I will do it. I'll remind you when I do it this year. Hey.
Like, I mean, I know with this year, everything has been pushed to like virtual meetings and all that, but yeah, it's still something that you can attend. And yeah, I mean, for you to have that list, yeah, I gotta do that.
This year, surprisingly, like not surprisingly, this year has given me the most growth. Like I failed probably super hard this year, but then I've gained so much. It's like I thought a couple of episodes back we talked about like me getting cheated on, but I thought that was like one of my turning points in life. But this year has really been a turning point in my life. Like I've discovered so much more meaning in like what I want to do in life, and you know, my real friends and like my passion and all that. You know, so like this podcast and my blog, and this year has just been mind blowing as far as like growth and happiness.
That's great. Yeah, it's who knows what's gonna happen within the next year, and yeah, moving forward from that. Exciting stuff, though.
Exciting stuff. Oh yeah. Well, once again, thank you for joining us on this beautiful journey.
Thank you. Yes, it was a really fun topic to share, and just like, yeah, all of our experiences dealing with roommates, relationships, and how we dealt with conflict. Yeah, pretty significant. And yeah, for anyone out there dealing with similar situations, or just dealing with conflict in whether it's work, personal relationships, romantic relationships, yeah, figure out how you can kind of find a balance or compromise between you and so. And hopefully we could help in some way as possible. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. And yeah, till then, we'll see you next time, and stay healthy, stay safe, and stay connected.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.